It's time for Monday with the Mayor. Hello, I'm Bill Potter, and joining me is the Mayor of Jasper, Terry Seitz, as we sit in his conference room. And Mayor, we've seen a year pass, and we're about to start a new year. It's funny how time flies.
Well, it is. It's actually end of a 4-year term, the beginning of a new one for us. And I don't know how others approach public office. For the most part, it's really rare, I think, that people think beyond that first 4 years, and you're generally drinking from a fire hose in those years, so you're so encumbered into that. But ultimately, you have an election to run as part of your last year in office, and we did that starting in September of last year. It's been a long time with the tie, the recount, and the processes that are in place for that. It was, I think it's for me to issue compliments to our staff from department heads on down. You know, the morning after the election, I called 2 special meetings, one with City Hall staff and one with department leaders, and said, you know, the recount process, a political process, will take place. It's their job to not play a role into that. We would not want them to be involved. If there are questions, that's fine, but it's not their job to lead the discussion, to let that go. And I've heard a lot of comments back from city staff. They thought that set the tone. Ultimately, again, even more than the election, it became a political process. And to keep that out of City Hall or out of the conversation and to do our job serving our citizens, I think we did a very good job, and I want to compliment our leaders for that. But ultimately, we're looking ahead to next year. We have inauguration coming up this Friday, January 1st at 3 o'clock. It will be at City Hall in the council chambers. The public is invited, and we will welcome 4 literally first-time elected officials, and we'll give them a chance to say some remarks if they so desire this week too. Look forward to that.
So it should be an exciting year coming up. What are some new plans?
You know, we have a lot of projects in the works that, while they may not be new, the actions and activities related to those projects are critical. We know that we'll be hearing back in the first quarter on Jasper Lofts Phase 2. We'll be hearing back on Vine Street Lofts from the state, whether they meet housing tax credits, and then things will get in place from there. We've had ongoing meetings. We'll be meeting on looking at the technical preview, we call that, of infrastructure and surface work may need to be done in regards to River Center. Who does that, how that gets done, what's needed. We've had meetings with the developer ongoing, but that is one that's department-wide. That'll be taking place in the Jasper Cultural Center, of course, with the recent absolute approval of the tax credits. We'll be having a joint arts board and library board meeting early in January so that the boards can actually go through things and see how they want to approach that. Ultimately, we know on that bill that state tax credits require a private developer, and we have a developer interested in playing a role in that. It's not that it would not be the typical request for proposal fashion, but ultimately, if you had a developer interest, I think that we have to really pay attention, say this may be the best way to go, and because of that $3.5 million from the state, because that has to be to someone who pays taxes. Obviously, the city of Jasper, Arts, and the library, neither one of those do pay taxes. So for that to basically become live, I think we'll look at that, and we'll look at it very diligently, but I could see where that may take a shape into that type of discussion when the library and arts meet. So I'm pretty excited about those 3 things, and throw also in the first quarter, we'll know January 13th, I think, whether we've made it to the final 15 of America's Best Communities contest. And I think that basically means then we have to do essentially a performance and a presentation somewhere to be determined. I hope it's warm. But somewhere, we don't know exactly where, and then we would make it to hopefully the final 8. Of the final 8, they get $100,000, and then it's another full year until the final 3 are determined. So that's our next step. Regardless, from the America's Best Communities program, that program has gelled very, very well, and I think the realization is that we have a lot to be proud of in the community already, and if nothing else, it's built up some community supporters, I guess I would call champions for it, and that's good. It takes it out of City Hall and lets the community help drive that more than just the mayor's office.
On America's Best Communities, is there anything citizens can do at this point, or is it, you got to wait now until January 13th to really find out?
January 13th. We have our application that went in November, and the citizens have been great. I think there were some things of posting some pictures of lights or Christmas in your community that went on Facebook, but that was rather random from America's Best Communities, and I shared it and said, hey, go on their page and post anything you wish about Jasper in regards to Christmas lights. And other than that, those are just really typical things. That's not part of the judging.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add as we end one year and start a new year?
Just I think as we look at the inauguration, we'll be actually asking for a blessing from Darrell Land of Christian Church of Jasper on the community, and I'm very knowledgeable, I wish to acknowledge that we do ask that we continue to be blessed and that our community can be a blessing to others and enable to have the growth that we need to have to fulfill the jobs and make an impact in our community in a positive way in 2016.
All right, thank you very much. Monday with the Mayor, with Mayor Terry Seitz on 18 WJTS.